My wife got pregnant by my brother, and my entire family knew before I did. They didn't warn me. They didn't protect me. They didn't even have the decency to let me find out like a man with a right to his own life. Instead, they held quiet little conversations behind my back. They made plans. They discussed my marriage, my brother's betrayal, my wife's pregnancy, and what they thought I should do about it. Their conclusion was simple. I needed to forgive. Because the baby was family. Because my brother had made a mistake. Because my wife was scared. Because my parents couldn't handle the idea of our family falling apart. So I gave them exactly what they deserved. Not a fight. Not a courtroom performance. Not a drunken breakdown in the driveway. I vanished. No goodbye. No explanation. No dramatic final speech. Just silence. And 5 years later, they are still haunted by the empty space where I used to be. My name is Wyatt. I was 34 when everything happened. I worked as a construction project manager, mostly on infrastructure jobs. Bridges, dams, hydroelectric plants, water systems, the kind of work nobody thinks about unless something breaks. I was good at it, careful, organized, calm under pressure. Those were the traits that saved me. They were also the traits that made my revenge possible. My wife's name was Bryn. We had been married for 5 years. Together for 8. She worked as an events coordinator at a luxury hotel in downtown Denver. She was charming in that effortless way that made people want to tell her secrets after one glass of wine. She remembered birthdays, allergies, seating preferences, little details that made strangers feel special. I used to think that made her thoughtful. Now I know it made her good at managing appearances. My brother Cole was my best man. He was 2 years younger than me, good-looking, easygoing, and permanently broke. He worked as a personal trainer, which mostly meant he posted gym videos, flirted with married women, and called me whenever rent was due. I helped him because he was my brother. A few $100s here. A loan there. A referral to a client when he wanted to build his training business. I helped with his truck once. Helped him move twice. Paid off one of his credit cards when he swore he was drowning and just needed one clean start. Family, right? That was what I believed. Until the night I came home early. I had been working on a hydroelectric plant renovation in rural New Mexico. Middle of nowhere. No decent cell service. Long days. Dust everywhere. You could shower for 15 minutes and still feel like the job site was stuck under your skin. We were supposed to be there another week, but we hit a major milestone 2 days ahead of schedule. My supervisor told us to take the rest of the week off. Most of the crew went drinking. I got in my truck and drove 11 hours back to Denver. I didn't call Bryn because I wanted to surprise her. That is the part that still makes me laugh sometimes. Not a happy laugh. More like the sound your brain makes when it bumps into an old version of yourself and barely recognizes him. I thought I was being romantic. I pictured walking into our house, dropping my bag by the door, and seeing her sleepy face light up because I was home early. I pictured ordering late-night takeout, maybe sleeping in the next morning, maybe fixing the back fence gate she kept reminding me about. Instead, I turned onto my street a little after 11 at night and saw Cole's truck parked behind her car. The house was dark. Her car was in the driveway. His truck was right behind it. I didn't pull in. I drove past slowly, parked 3 houses down across the street, turned off my headlights, and sat there. Your brain becomes a defense attorney when your heart is about to be executed. Maybe his truck broke down. Maybe he needed a place to crash. Maybe Bryn was helping him with something. Maybe he was drunk and she wouldn't let him drive. Maybe there was a normal explanation for my brother's truck sitting in my driveway close to midnight while I was supposed to be hundreds of miles away. I sat there for 2.5 hours. At 1:30 in the morning, my front door opened. Cole walked out first. Then Bryn stepped onto the porch behind him wearing my old college t-shirt and nothing else. The porch light was off, but the street lamp gave me enough. Enough to see her bare legs. Enough to see him turn back. Enough to see her smile at him. Then they kissed. Not a peck. Not a mistake. Not some confused, drunken, 1-second accident that people could twist into a misunderstanding. It was slow. Familiar. Comfortable. It was the kind of kiss people share when they have done it before and expect to do it again. He got in his truck. She stood on the porch with her arms wrapped around herself against the cold and watched him drive away. Then she went back inside my house. My wife. My brother. My porch. I built that porch myself the first summer after I bought the place. Sanded the boards, stained the rails, fixed the steps so Bryn could put flower pots along the side. She used to sit out there with coffee on Saturday mornings and tell me I made her feel safe. I sat in my truck until the sun came up. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't go inside. Something in me simply went quiet. By sunrise, I understood one thing clearly. If I confronted them right then, they would get a scene. They would get tears. They would get excuses. They would get a chance to manage the moment. I didn't want to give them a moment. I wanted the truth. So I drove to a motel off I-25, Checked in for a week, and became a stranger with my own face. The next morning, I went home like nothing had happened. Bryn was in the kitchen making coffee. She looked surprised for half a second, then happy. "Wyatt? You're home." "Finished early," I said. She came over and hugged me. I hugged her back. That was the first time I learned how much control a person can have when there is nothing left inside them to protect. She smelled like her shampoo and the lotion I used to buy her. I kissed the top of her head, asked how things had been. She told me she missed me, told me the house felt too quiet when I was gone. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "I missed you too." For the next 7 days, I played husband. I kissed her goodbye in the morning, told her I had meetings, paperwork, site follow-ups. I brought home dinner twice. I asked about her day. I watched TV beside her. I even fixed the back fence gate because apparently Cole had been too busy to come by and do it. That detail mattered later. While she thought I was at work, I investigated. Bank statements came first. Cash transfers to Cole. $200. $150. $300. Random amounts over months. When I had asked about them before, Bryn said Cole had picked up groceries and helped around the house while I was traveling. She said she was paying him back. "He's been so helpful," she told me then. Helpful. That word aged badly. Next came her phone. I know people love to argue about privacy. They can argue with someone else. When your wife is sleeping with your brother in the house you pay for while possibly carrying his child, you stop caring about the moral philosophy of locked screens. She left her phone on the bathroom counter while she showered. Her passcode was still our anniversary. That almost hurt more than if she had changed it. The messages went back 5 months. 5 months of planning around my work schedule. 5 months of laughing about near misses. 5 months of Cole asking when I was leaving again. 5 months of Bryn telling him she hated sleeping alone. There were photos. Voice notes. Details. I wish I could cut out of my brain with a knife. I didn't delete anything. I took screenshots. Saved them to a cloud account she didn't know existed. Forwarded copies to a new email. Took pictures of the bank statements. Started building a timeline with the same precision I used for project reports. Dates. Transfers. Work travel. Messages. Hotel receipts. Gas receipts. Photos. Then I found the pregnancy test. It was in the bathroom trash, buried under tissues and makeup wipes like she thought shame could be hidden under cotton pads. Positive. Clear as day. She had not told me, but she had told Cole. I checked her messages again that night. 3 days earlier, she had sent him a photo of the test. His response was, "Holy crap. Is it mine?" Her answer, "I think so. He hasn't touched me in months." That sentence did something to me. Not because it was untrue. It was mostly true. I had been gone 6 of the last 8 weeks. When I came home, I was exhausted. We had been distant. Sure. Tired. Busy. Married people go through stretches like that. But she wrote it like I was the problem. Like my work, the work paying our mortgage, paying her car note, helping my brother when he needed money, somehow made me responsible for what they did. I sat on the edge of the motel bed and stared at the wall for a long time. Then I added the pregnancy test to the timeline. For 2 more weeks, I gave an Oscar-worthy performance as the devoted husband. I made dinner. I asked if she needed anything. I held her in bed. I kissed her forehead when she said she was tired. I watched her touch her stomach when she thought I wasn't looking. Inside, I was already gone. The only thing I didn't know yet was how far the rot had spread. I found that out at a family barbecue. It was a Sunday afternoon at my parents' house. Typical family thing. My dad at the grill, acting like flipping burgers was a sacred masculine ritual. My mom carrying bowls of potato salad and coleslaw like the entire neighborhood was coming. My Aunt Linda fussing over napkins. My Uncle Frank pretending to help while mostly drinking beer. My grandmother sitting in her lawn chair judging everyone with the confidence only 80-year-old women possess. Cole was there. Bryn was there too, wearing a loose sundress that hid the early pregnancy she still hadn't told me about. Everyone acted normal. Too normal. By that point, I had become very good at watching. Cole and Bryn didn't stand too close. They didn't speak much, but they moved around each other like magnets pretending not to be magnets. A glance over the cooler. A half smile by the patio table. His eyes dropping to her stomach when she thought nobody noticed. I noticed. But worse than that, my mother noticed. So did my father. So did my aunt. And they weren't confused. They were monitoring. That was the first cold needle of suspicion. I decided to test it. I took a beer from the cooler, leaned against the deck railing, and said to my dad, "Looks like the New Mexico project might extend another 6 months. They want me to oversee the next phase. Great money." My mother's face changed instantly. Not disappointment. Not casual concern. Panic. "Oh, honey," she said. "Is that really necessary? You're away so much already." Bryn stared down at her plate. Cole suddenly became deeply interested in the label on his beer bottle. My dad set the spatula down. "Wyatt," he said, "can we talk inside for a minute?" There it was. I followed him into the kitchen. My mother came with us. So did Aunt Linda. They closed the door behind me like I was 16 and had dented the family car. Dad cleared his throat. "Son, we need to discuss something." I said nothing. My mother folded her hands together in front of her. Her church face. Her crisis face. The face she used when she wanted to sound gentle while pushing someone where she wanted them to go. "We know you've been working so hard," she said. "And we're proud of you. We really are. But Bryn has been struggling." "Struggling?" I repeated. "With you gone so much," Aunt Linda added quickly. "A woman gets lonely, Wyatt." That was almost funny. My wife was pregnant by my brother, and somehow Aunt Linda had found a way to make it about my work ethic. Dad looked uncomfortable. "Cole has been helping around the house," he said. "And things got complicated." I kept my face blank. "How complicated?" Mom's eyes filled with tears. "They got close," she whispered. "Too close." I nodded once. Dad said, "We've talked to both of them. It's over now." Of course they had talked to both of them. Of course I was the last item on the agenda. Then Mom said it. "Bryn is pregnant." I looked at her. "When is she due?" They exchanged a look. That look told me everything before the words did. "November," Mom said. 8 months away. I had been gone most of the last 2 months. Dad spoke carefully. "There's a chance, Wyatt. We don't know for sure, but there's a chance it might be Cole's." "A chance," I said. My voice sounded strange even to me. Flat. Empty. Mom reached for my hand. "They made a terrible mistake. But they ended it. And that baby, whether it's yours or Cole's, is still family. Still family. There are phrases that sound harmless until someone uses them as a knife. We need to handle this together," she continued. "As a family." The kitchen door opened. My grandmother walked in holding an empty paper plate. "Oh good," she said, like someone had finally taken the casserole out of the oven. "You told him." Nobody moved. She patted my shoulder. "Wyatt, sweetheart, these things happen. Your grandfather and I went through something difficult in our early years. You work through it. That's what family does." That was the moment. Not the kiss. Not the pregnancy test. Not the messages. That was the moment I lost them all. Because they knew. They had known. They had discussed it without me. Planned how to present it. Decided which words to use. Mistake. Struggling. Lonely. Family. They had held meetings about my marriage, my wife, my brother's baby, and my future. And somehow I was the only person not invited. I looked at my father. "How long have you known?" He didn't answer quickly enough. Mom started crying harder. "Wyatt, please don't focus on that right now. That meant long enough." I stepped back. "I need some air." Nobody stopped me. Outside, the barbecue continued in that weird half-frozen way family gatherings do when everyone knows something happened but nobody wants to admit they were listening. I sat on the front steps. Cole came out 30 seconds later. Of course he did. "Hey, man." I didn't look at him. He sat beside me, leaving a few feet between us, which was smart. "I know Dad talked to you," he said. I stood up. "I'm leaving." He blinked. "You're not staying for dinner?" "No." Bryn appeared in the driveway like she had been waiting for her cue. "Wyatt," she said softly, "can we talk when you get back?" "Sure." That word meant nothing. I got in my truck. In the rearview mirror, I saw them all standing there. My wife. My brother. My parents. My aunt. My grandmother. Watching me drive away. They probably thought I needed time to cool off. They probably thought I would come back angry, then broken, then ready to negotiate. They didn't understand. There was nothing left to negotiate. I drove straight to Terrence's house. Terrence had been my college roommate. He went to law school while I went into construction. Now he handled trusts, estates, property disputes, and enough divorces to understand how ugly people got when money and guilt shared a room. Most importantly, he was not family. He opened the door in sweatpants holding a beer. One look at my face and he said, "What happened?" "I need a lawyer," I said. "And I need to disappear." He let me in. I sat at his kitchen table and laid everything out. The screenshots. The bank transfers. The timeline. The pregnancy test. The barbecue. The family intervention. He read in silence. With each page, his jaw got tighter. When he finished, he leaned back and said, "Jesus, Wyatt, what are my options?" He became a lawyer then. Not my friend. My lawyer. He pulled property records. Bank agreements. Vehicle titles. Insurance documents. "The house is solely in your name," he said. "You bought it 3 years before the marriage. Can she touch it?" "Not likely." "Separate property. You maintained it. Paid the mortgage. Renovated it. She could make noise, but she doesn't have a strong claim. Next document. Joint savings account. Current balance is about $142,000. Based on deposits. Most of that is yours. Can I move it? You're a joint account holder. Legally, yes. She may try to fight later, but with the evidence and deposit history, you're in a strong position. Do it. He looked at me carefully. Once you start this, there's no going back. I almost smiled. There was no going back when my brother walked out of my house at 1:30 in the morning. He nodded. What do you want? I don't want a confrontation. I don't want closure. I don't want them to explain. I want to remove myself completely. Legally, financially, physically. I want them to wake up one day and realize I am gone, and there is nothing they can say that will reach me. Terrence was quiet for a long moment. Then he opened a blank document. Okay, he said. Then we do this clean. Monday morning, I called my supervisor. Family emergency, I said. I need to use vacation time. How long? 6 weeks. I had 8 saved. I never took time off. Reliable Wyatt. Dependable Wyatt. The guy who covered every gap. Take what you need, my supervisor said. Family first. If he only knew. Then I texted Bryn. Project extended. Won't be home for a month. Love you. She replied within seconds. Miss you already. I stared at the heart emoji for a second. Then I put the phone down. By Tuesday, Terrence had everything ready. Wednesday, I opened a new bank account at a credit union in Colorado Springs. Different city, no shared branches near our house. No familiar tellers. No family friends. I transferred the savings. $142,000. Gone in seconds. Then the checking account, another $18,000. I removed Bryn as an authorized user from every credit card where I was primary. Then I canceled the cards entirely and opened new ones elsewhere. I removed her car from my insurance policy. The car was in my name. I had been making the payments. She drove it to work every day without thinking about who kept it legal. That was about to become her problem. Thursday, I met with a real estate agent in Colorado Springs. I need to sell fast, I said. Quiet listing, no yard sign. He looked excited in the way young agents get when commission walks through the door wearing work boots. We can do that, he said. With your upgrades, maybe list at $650,000. Do it. Friday afternoon, we had a cash offer. $635,000. 30-day close. I accepted. Bryn had no idea our house was already leaving her life. Monday, divorce papers were filed. I did not serve them myself. A process server went to her workplace and handed my wife the documents that ended our marriage while she stood in the lobby of a luxury hotel smiling at guests. My phone started ringing 20 minutes later. Bryn. Decline. Again. Decline. Then texts. What is this? Wyatt, call me. You can't do this. We need to talk. Then Mom, then Dad. Then Cole. Then Aunt Linda. I let them all ring. By evening, I had 17 missed calls from Bryn, 12 from my mother, 8 from my father, 23 from Cole, and several from relatives who apparently rediscovered my number once consequences arrived. I did not listen to a single voicemail. Tuesday, I called HR. I want to transfer, I said. To where? Alaska Division. A pause. That is pretty remote. That is the point. Keyboard clicking. We have 3 infrastructure projects up there. Renewable energy installations, pipeline inspections, remote housing development. 6-month minimum commitments. Usually longer. When can I start? How soon can you get there? 3 weeks. Then welcome to Alaska. I bought a new phone that afternoon. New number. New carrier. I kept the old phone and put it in a drawer. Not because I planned to answer. Because I wanted to see how long guilt could scream into a locked room. For the next few days, I packed 1 suitcase of clothes. My good tools. Laptop. Important documents. Passport. Birth certificate. Social security card. The divorce file. Evidence copies. Everything else stayed. Furniture. Dishes. Wedding photos. The couch we picked together. The bed she betrayed me in. The framed print from our honeymoon. The stupid decorative bowl she insisted made the entryway look finished. Contaminated. All of it. Saturday night, I wrote 1 sentence on a piece of paper. House closes in 23 days. Be out by then. No signature. No explanation. No anger. Just facts. I left it on the kitchen counter. Sunday at 3:00 a.m., I loaded my truck. Before I left, I stood in the doorway and looked at the house one last time. The porch I built. The garden Bryn planted. The kitchen where my mother would have expected me to forgive everyone over coffee. The hallway where Cole probably walked barefoot like he belonged there. For 1 second, grief moved through me. Then it passed. I got in my truck and drove north. Denver disappeared behind me as the sun came up. I did not look back. Alaska did not welcome me. It swallowed me. I arrived in Anchorage on a Wednesday. Even in late spring, the air had teeth. The mountains looked unreal, like something painted by a person who had never been told to make things small. I checked into an extended stay motel, unpacked my one suitcase, sat on the bed, and felt nothing. Not freedom. Not sadness. Not victory. Just quiet. My new job was supposed to start in 2 weeks, but I called my supervisor the next morning. "I'm here early," I said. "Any chance I can start now?" He laughed. "You trying to impress us already?" "No. Just want to work. We've got a pipeline inspection crew heading out Monday. Remote camp. 6 weeks minimum. No cell service most of the time." Perfect. And it was. Remote camp was exactly what I needed. 12-hour shifts. Mud. Cold. Bad coffee. 15 guys who didn't ask personal questions because everyone in those places is either running from something, paying for something, or trying not to think about something. We worked. Ate. Slept. Repeated. At night, I lay in my bunk and listened to real silence. Not city silence. Not Denver silence, where there is always traffic somewhere, a dog barking, a neighbor's garage door, life pressing against the windows. This was empty silence. The kind that asks nothing from you. The kind that does not care what happened before you arrived. 6 weeks later, I came back to Anchorage and turned on the old phone. 394 unread texts. 183 missed calls. I scrolled just enough to see the names. Bryn? Mom? Dad? Cole? Aunt Linda? Uncle? Frank? Grandma? Bryn had started angry. "Wyatt, this is cruel. You can't just abandon your wife. I'm pregnant and you're doing this now?" Then pleading. "Please call me. I need to know where I'm supposed to go. You sold the house? How could you sell our home?" Then desperate. "I know I hurt you. I know you hate me. Please just talk to me once." Cole's messages were worse because they started casual, like we had missed a basketball game instead of destroyed a family. "Dude, answer your phone. Man, I know you're mad. This is extreme." Then later, "I messed up. I don't know what to do. Mom is losing it. Please just let us know you're alive." My parents were exactly what I expected. Mom cried through text. Dad commanded. "Call me immediately. This has gone far enough. You need to come home and deal with this like a man." That one made me pause. Deal with it like a man. I had. That was the problem. I turned the phone back off and put it in a drawer. Terrence called my new number a few days later. "House closed," he said. "Good. Bryn moved out the day before." "Where?" "From what I understand, Cole's apartment first. Then your parents' place." "Of course." "How much?" "After closing costs and fees. Just under $590,000 net to you." That number should have meant something. Once, it would have represented security, future plans, maybe kids, maybe retirement, maybe the cabin Bryn and I used to joke about buying someday. Now it was just data. What about the divorce? Moving forward. Her attorney keeps asking for an in-person meeting. No. That's what I told them. Anything else? They are pushing for part of the savings. I laughed once. It surprised both of us. Tell them to enjoy pushing. I already did, in legal language. 4 months after I left Denver, the DNA test came back. Court ordered for the divorce. Cole was the father. 99.97% certainty. Terrence called me during lunch at a job site outside Fairbanks. "You're clean," he said. "No child support?" "No." "No custody?" "No." "No legal tie to the child?" "None." I looked out over the frozen ground and felt the closest thing to relief I had felt in months. Not joy. Relief. Like hearing a door lock behind you when something dangerous is still outside. The divorce finalized 2 months later. Bryn got nothing meaningful. A few personal items. Whatever had been legally hers. No house. No big payout. No version of the life she thought she could keep after replacing me in my own bed. Cole's life started collapsing almost immediately. I learned that through messages I did not answer. He lost training clients when the story got around. Denver is big until it is small. People talk, especially when a man gets his brother's wife pregnant and then tries to pretend he is misunderstood. He moved in with my parents. Bryn had the baby. A boy. She sent a photo to my old phone. "He was born yesterday," she wrote. "I know you probably won't answer. I know you probably don't care. But I thought you should know." I looked at the picture for 5 seconds. The baby had Cole's face. That was enough. I deleted it. Some people will hate me for that. They will say the child was innocent. They are right, he was innocent. So was I, and nobody built a family meeting around protecting me. I did not wish harm on that child. I still don't. But innocence does not create obligation. His existence was not his fault, but it was also not my responsibility to make his parents feel better about how he got here. That is the part people love to ignore. They wanted me to turn their betrayal into a family story with a complicated but heartwarming ending. I refused. The first year in Alaska passed like weather. Harsh, blunt, cleansing. I worked constantly. Pipeline inspections. Renewable energy installations. Remote housing projects. Bridges in places where the cold made steel sound different. I rented a small apartment in Anchorage that I barely used. Later, I took a month-to-month cabin outside Fairbanks. Basic furniture. Wood stove. Half an acre of nothing. Nothing became valuable to me. Empty space. Quiet mornings. No family obligations. No forced holidays. No group texts. No pretending. One night, I met Freya at a bar near a job site. She was a wilderness guide. Ice climbing, dog sledding, backcountry survival, the kind of woman who could look at a mountain and tell whether it was inviting you in or warning you off. She had blonde hair, sharp eyes, and the social warmth of a locked gate. "You're new here," she said. "Few months. You don't talk much. Neither do you." She smiled. "Good. I hate people who talk too much." We had 3 beers. She told me about an expedition where a client ignored instructions and nearly lost 2 fingers to frostbite. I told her about a turbine housing that had been installed wrong because some engineer in Seattle thought math worked the same as weather. Neither of us asked about exes. Neither of us performed. That was the beginning. Freya did not heal me. That is not how life works. People are not emotional repair shops. But she existed honestly. She said what she meant. She did what she said she would do. She never pushed doors I kept closed. That mattered more than romance at first. The old phone stayed in a drawer. Every month or 2, I turned it on. The messages changed over time. At first, they wanted me back. Then they wanted me angry. Then they wanted me alive. Mom wrote, "Your father isn't sleeping. He thinks something happened to you. Please, even if you hate us, just send one text." Cole wrote, "I screwed up my whole life. Bryn and I can't stand each other. The kid cries all night. I lost my job. I'm living with mom and dad. You're the only one who came out clean." Bryn wrote, "I think about you every day. I know sorry doesn't cover it. I know nothing does." They still didn't understand. They thought my silence was punishment. It wasn't. Punishment requires effort. My silence was the absence of effort. That was my peace. 2 years after I left, an old college friend forwarded me a message. "Hey man, I don't want to get involved, but your family is trying to find you. Your mom is in therapy. Your dad had a heart attack last year. Cole is drowning in debt. Bryn is working 2 jobs. They just want to know if you're alive." I replied once. The only communication I ever sent back into my old life. "I'm alive. Don't contact me again." He apologized. He never wrote again. 3 years after I left Denver, I bought a house outside Fairbanks. Small place. 2 bedrooms, wood stove, a view of trees and mountains that made human drama feel embarrassingly small. I paid cash, no mortgage, no shared title. No one else's name attached to my piece. Freya moved in 6 months later. She brought gear, books, 2 cast iron pans, and a dog that looked like it had been assembled from spare wolf parts. We got married the next summer. No family. No big ceremony. Just us, 2 witnesses, and vows neither of us treated like decorations. Around that time, Terrence mentioned my family during a tax call. "Your brother's working retail now," he said. "Okay. Sporting goods store. Lost his training certification." "Okay. Your ex-wife is at another hotel. Assistant manager. Not doing great." "Okay." A pause. "Your mom is still in therapy. Your dad's health has been rough. Anything else we need for the tax forms?" Terrence sighed. "No." "Good." Year 4 was when the letters started. Aunt Linda somehow found my P.O. box. Maybe she hired someone. Maybe she begged the right person. Maybe guilt grows teeth when people get desperate enough. Her letter said my father had stage 3 colon cancer. Chemo. Bad prognosis. Mom falling apart. Cole barely functional. The family collapsing. "I am not asking you to forgive anyone," she wrote. "I'm just asking you to know." I read it twice. Put it in a drawer. Did not respond. 6 months later, my mother wrote, "Your father is dying. 6 months, maybe less. He wants to see you before he goes. Not to ask forgiveness. Just to see you. Please. Wyatt. Whatever we did, don't punish him like this. He's your father." I stared at that letter for an hour. Freya found me at the kitchen table. "What's wrong?" "My father has cancer." She sat across from me. "Are you going to see him?" "I don't know." She nodded. No pressure. No speech about family. No moral lecture from someone who had not lived it. Just presence. 2 weeks later, Cole messaged me through an old LinkedIn profile I had forgotten to delete. I know you won't answer, but Dad's dying. Mom is falling apart. I destroyed everything. I think about it every day. I'm not asking you to come back. Just let us know you're alive. One word, please. I let the message sit there marked as seen. I never opened it fully. I wanted him to know I had seen it. I wanted him to understand the difference between being ignored by accident and being ignored by choice. 8 months after the diagnosis, Terrence called. Your father is in hospice. Okay. Weeks. Maybe days. Okay. Wyatt. No. I didn't say anything. You were about to. He was quiet. Fair enough. 3 days later, my father's letter arrived. His handwriting was shaky, barely him. I read it on the porch while snow fell over the yard. Son, I'm writing because the doctors say I have weeks, not months. I don't expect you to respond. I don't expect you to care. But I need to say this. I failed you. As a father. As a man, when you needed me to have your back, I chose comfort over courage. I chose keeping the family together over doing what was right. I know now that I lost you the day I asked you to forgive Cole before Cole ever deserved it. I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just want you to know you were right about everything. I'm sorry. I love you. Even if I never see you again. Dad. My hands shook. First time in 4 years. That surprised me. I thought I had emptied that part of myself completely, but apparently grief hides in deep pockets. Freya came outside. You coming in? My father wrote me. She sat beside me but didn't ask to read it. What are you going to do? I looked at the mountains. That huge. Indifferent distance between who I had been and who I was now. I don't know. For 2 days, I carried the question around. Should I go? Should I give a dying man peace? Should I let my mother see me one last time? Should I stand beside Cole at a hospital bed and pretend death had made us brothers again? People love deathbed forgiveness because it makes a clean story. Someone hurts you. Years pass. They get sick. They apologize. You cry. They die. Everyone says healing happened. But healing for whom? The dying person? The guilty family? The audience watching from a safe distance? What about the person who has to reopen the wound so everyone else can feel less haunted? On the third night, I stood by the wood stove with my father's letter in my hand. Freya watched from the doorway. If you need to go, she said, go. I'll be here when you get back. And if I don't? I'll still be here. That was love. No pressure. No ownership. No demand that I become easier to understand. I read the letter one last time. Then I opened the stove. I held the paper over the flame and watched the edges curl. Brown. Black. Ash. I closed the stove. I'm not going, I said. Freya nodded. 3 weeks later, Terrence called. Your father passed yesterday morning. Okay. Funeral is Saturday. I'm not going. I figured. Then why call? Because you asked me years ago to keep you informed of legal and family matters that might affect you. Does this affect me legally? No. Then note that I was informed. I will. Saturday came. I spent the day building a deck behind my house. Freya helped. We measured, cut, drilled, leveled. The dog supervised badly. The air was cold enough to numb my fingers if I took my gloves off too long. Somewhere 2,300 miles away, my father was being buried. I did not cry. I did not feel triumphant. I felt my shoulders ache from work and my lungs fill with clean air. By evening, the deck was finished. I stood on it and looked at the mountains. That was the only memorial I gave him. Monday, Terrence forwarded an email from my mother. I know you weren't there, she wrote. I didn't expect you to be. But I stood at your father's casket and couldn't stop thinking that I lost 2 men I loved. One to death. One to my own failure. Cole spoke at the funeral. He broke down. Bryn came with the boy. He's 5 now. He looks like Cole but acts like you, quiet and stubborn. I don't know if you care. I need you to know you were the best thing I ever helped create, and I ruined you. I'll stop trying to reach you now. You've earned your peace, Mom. I read it once. Deleted it. That night, Freya asked the question everyone eventually asks. Do you regret not seeing him? I thought about lying because the truth sounds cold. But Freya had earned honesty. No. You're sure? People think death changes the math, I said. It doesn't. He chose Cole and Bryn over me while he was alive. He asked me to swallow humiliation so everyone else could stay comfortable. Cancer didn't undo that. A coffin didn't undo that. She nodded. What about the boy? What about him? Do you ever think about him? I looked toward the stove. Sometimes. And? He has a father. A bad one. But a father. He has a mother. He has grandparents. He does not need an uncle whose only connection to him is the worst betrayal of his life. That sounds harsh. It is harsh. Is it true? Yes. She accepted that. That is one of the reasons I married her. 5 years after I left Denver, I was 39. Senior project manager. 6 figures. House paid off. Honest wife. Good dog. Real friends who knew me as Wyatt from Alaska, not Wyatt from the family tragedy nobody could stop talking about. I worked on projects that mattered. Clean energy. Sustainable housing. Infrastructure that would still be standing after I was gone. I built things. That became important to me. Because my old life had taught me how easily people destroy. The old phone sits in a box in the garage now. I have not turned it on in over a year. Maybe there are messages. Maybe there aren't. Maybe mom kept her promise and stopped trying. Maybe Cole still writes when he is drunk. Maybe Bryn still sends updates about a child I will never meet. I don't know. That is the point. People say holding a grudge hurts you more than the people who hurt you. Maybe that is true for some grudges. But what I carry is not a grudge. A grudge is active. It needs feeding. It wakes up hungry and asks what revenge looks like today. I do not feed this. I do not plan against them. I do not check their lives. I do not care whether Cole finds love or Bryn finds peace or my mother forgives herself. I removed myself. That is all. They wanted me to stay in the wreckage and help sweep up the glass. I left them standing barefoot in it. There is a difference between remorse and regret. Remorse says, I hurt you, and I understand why you may never forgive me. Regret says, I hate the consequences of what I did. My family regretted. I am not sure they ever fully understood remorse. They wanted my forgiveness because forgiveness would have made the story softer. It would have let my mother say, we went through a hard time, but we found our way back. It would have let Cole say, my brother and I had problems, but blood is blood. It would have let Bryn say, people make mistakes, and love is complicated. No. Some things are not complicated. My wife slept with my brother. My brother got her pregnant. My family knew. They chose management over loyalty. They asked me to carry the shame so they would not have to. So I put the shame down and walked away. That is the whole story. No hidden twist. No secret reconciliation. No holiday miracle. No hospital room apology that fixed everything. Just a man who finally understood that family is not the people who demand forgiveness after betraying you. Family is the people who do not put you in that position to begin with. Some people will call me heartless. Maybe I am. But I sleep well. I wake up beside a woman who has never made me question whether her love is real. I drink coffee on a deck I built myself. I drive to work through cold air and mountains. I come home to a house where every room belongs to my present, not my pain. Back in Denver, maybe they still talk about me. Maybe there is an empty chair at holidays. Maybe my mother looks at the door whenever someone arrives. Maybe Cole sees my name in old photos and feels his stomach drop. Maybe Bryn wonders what her life would have been if she had chosen honesty before betrayal. Maybe the boy asks why there is a man missing from family stories. Maybe they lie. Maybe they tell the truth. None of that reaches me anymore. That is the part they never understood. The ultimate revenge is not fire. It is not screaming. It is not destroying someone's life with your own hands. The ultimate revenge is becoming unreachable. It is building a life so complete without them that their guilt has nowhere to land. They wanted closure. I gave them absence. They wanted forgiveness. I gave them nothing, and that nothing became the loudest thing they ever heard. The silence was not my punishment. It was my peace. Their prison was what they did with it. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.